to the 2014 President's General Assembly. Would you please help us honor America for rising for our national anthem? It will be signed by Co-Tuba Section Leader Corey Crow.
Tarleton Color Song.
Welcome to the 2014 General Assembly. Do we have a terrific band and choir or what, huh? Thank you guys so very much. I have to, before Dr. Westbrook leaves, just last night I heard a new term, voluntold. So I'm not sure I told him, but it was very kind of you to volunteer. Thank you so very much. Let me tell you, this group certainly captures, I think, the excitement, the pride, and the enthusiasm that we all should feel as we begin a great new year here at Tarleton. And so I truly do thank Dr. Westbrook, Dr. Robertson, and our students, particularly, for them coming out to demonstrate their skills to us and to get us off to a great start. Give them another round of applause for such a rousing. Thank you. And you know, congratulations are in order to both the band and the choir, because the band has been invited to participate in the Chicago Thanksgiving Day Parade. And so they'll be marching proudly down State Street in their purple and white. And the band is going to be, or I'm sorry, the choir will be heading to Japan. And so I look forward to hearing them sing in Osaka. And you know, we have, And I'm not going to say this because we have a congressman here today that it happens to be on the TCU board, but Gary Westbrook, our band director, told me just a couple minutes ago that he's proud that this is the first time, apparently in our history, that this band is bigger than the TCU band. Well, folks, it's finally here. After weeks and months, in some cases years of preparation, renovating, remodeling, repurposing, rerouting, I think we're finally ready for all of the students that have arrived. And I think you probably all know by now that we've opened with another record enrollment, nearly 12,000 students at Tarleton this year. And I think you know, too, that that doesn't happen just by chance. It happens by hard work on all of your parts. You have been working enormously hard over the last number of months to make Tarleton a place of first choice for so many students. And you know, from their very first campus visit, Texan tours, through orientations and duck camps, move-in, transition week, last week's convocation, the candle lighting, these new students, they see and they feel that remarkable pride and spirit that you reflect about this great university. And you know, I started tweeting about a year ago today, and Twitter is a great place to kind of get a pulse of what our students are thinking about, and that spirit and pride is confirmed by just a couple of tweets I've seen in the last week. Let me give you a couple of examples. Cody Johnson said this: "Sandelas in the library made me fall in love with Tarleton all over again." Donna, you should be very pleased that your new cafe is having that kind of impact. Tamara Ellen tweeted, "Talking to a nursing professor makes my dreams and goals seem more real." Hashtag Tarleton success. And let me tell you, we owe a great deal of thanks to our shout out to our nursing program, because just this past week they were identified as the best nursing program in the state of Texas. Yeah. Well-deserved recognition. I love this one from Savannah Marie. She writes, tweeted, I guess. We don't write anymore, do we? "I woke up to the JTAC newspaper at my door this morning. Man, this is the life." Don't you wish it was that simple? All we have to do is deliver JTACs every morning and they'd be all happy. Tammy Johnson tweeted, so kind of the opposite end of waking up in the morning. She tweeted, "So how on earth do I lower my bed?" Rusty, I hope you're all over that, trying to figure that out for her. And I think this one says it all. Annie Weishart summed it up. She said, "Tarleton, seriously, is the best school out there. Hashtag bleed purple." Isn't that great? Now, what I want you to know is that these testimonials are because of the staff and the faculty and the students too, who have been part of recruiting this new class, the first year transfer, student success, welcome program, and all those events that have been taking place. And so I'd like to have anybody who attended or participated in any of the planning or the implementation of, beginning from the Texan tours to the duck camps, the transition weeks, the move-ins, the candle lighting, the convocation, all those activities, all of you who helped to do that and develop this spirit. Please stand so we can thank you. Anybody that attended, participated, look at this. You deserve a great deal of thanks. Now, I saw a lot of people from SSC that didn't stand up, and I know you folks made a lot of that happen, so you should have stood at the same time. Thank you for all you've done. You know, the renovations, a lot of renovations on this campus reflect, I think, the ongoing effort that we all have to try to match outstanding facilities with the teaching and learning needs of our faculty and staff. And beginning with this wonderful facility that we're in today, that people have been working 24/7 for the last week to allow us to be in here today. It's still under construction, as you saw, but there are a lot of people, including the faculty and staff that reside in this building and Kiewit Construction, that worked so hard to allow this to happen today. If you saw it yesterday, it looked like a bomb went off outside this door. And so I think we owe everybody in this building and the Kiewit Construction folks a round of applause for all they've done. You know, we've also seen some very impressive additions to the OA Grant Building. It's nearly done. There's still some touch-ups there. The Writing Center, the media facilities, the outdoor amphitheater, all those things are going to be great additions for the teaching and learning that takes place on this campus. The collaborative learning spaces that are in the Dick Smith Library and the tech spot that's over there. I've seen a lot of students already using that, and the Study Grounds Cafe. Those are important additions. I'll tell you what, if you haven't been over to that new cafe, they have the fanciest soda machine I've ever seen in my life. I mean, you can make any combination of Dr. Pepper, Sprite, Coke, Diet Pepsi, you name it. Well, I guess we don't do Coke, do we? Oh, do we do Coke? Oh. But it's worth a stop just to see it. And speaking of stops, the one-stop shop and the graduate programs are nearing completion as well. And both of those places are going to be important services to our students, but they're also going to help us to serve each other in a better way. And so I want to extend my deepest thanks to Kelly Styron for her leadership both in this building and the Grant Building, Donna Savage for her help in the library, David Weisenberger and Javier Gaza for the one-stop shop, Barry Lambert for the graduate program, and all those people that helped to make those facilities possible, either through the construction, through the design, through the planning, through the ideas that faculty and staff had for those facilities, and then all of you who have had to put up with the dust, the construction, the noise, and the inconvenience. We owe you all a great deal of gratitude. We think it's going to be a better place because of it, but we know it has been difficult to bring to this point. But let's thank all those people that have helped to make those things possible. You know, in addition to all those changes in the facilities, we also brought a lot of new people to this campus over the last year or so. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to pulse these up, and those that I ask to stand, please remain standing till we have all up that are new to the university. So first I'd like to ask those people that are here within the last 30 days, including somebody that's on his way here, our new police chief, Matt Welch. If you would, with all of you that have just arrived in the last 30 days, and Matt, you too. Matt's right here. No, wait. Okay, now those of you that came over the summer, let's say since May 1st, but those of you who have been here that came since May 1st, stand. Another good group. And how about January 1? We started a new group back in January 2. Yeah. And then, since the last General Assembly, that would have been about this time last year, say September 1 or so. Anybody that's arrived since that time. That's a lot of new faces, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make them all feel welcome to the Tarleton family. Thank you all. I also want to say thank you and introduce two other special guests today. You know, each year the governor appoints one student to serve on the Texas A&M University System Board of Regents. And this year, for the very first time, a Tarleton student received that distinct honor. Colton Buckley is a junior here at Tarleton, pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree in Agricultural Services and Development with a concentration in agricultural communications and a minor in political science. I will tell you what, knowing the amount of time he's going to spend on the road and at board meetings and a variety of other functions around this enormous system, Colton, I expect you're going to get the equivalent of a minor in higher education administration. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate your student, Colton Butler. As I mentioned earlier, we're honored to have with us today a Congressman Roger Williams, who represents us in the U.S. House of Representatives. He has an enormous district that extends from Tarrant County down south to Hayes and into Austin, a good part of Austin area. And he serves on two very important committees that make a difference in the life of this nation. One, the House Committee on the Budget. That's a very important committee. And another one is the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, which has some big issues facing it in the near future. He is a graduate of that other purple school, TCU, and indeed a member of the Board of Trustees. The good news about that is he really does love purple, and he knows how to wear it very well. He played baseball for TCU, was their baseball coach, manager for a period of time, drafted by the Atlanta Braves. And most recently, his baseball career included helping to coach the House of Representatives Republican team, which I understand does not do too well these days. Prior to being elected to Congress, he served as our Secretary of State for the state of Texas, but he also has been very successful in the private sector, part of a family business dating back 75 years. He owned and operated a family business. His car dealership in Fort Worth that I know some of you, many of you probably have purchased a car from his dealership. Congressman, with that baseball background, you clearly, in the baseball terminology, are one of those five-tool players, somebody that can do it all. And I'll tell you what, one of the other things I appreciate about him, on Monday he tweeted out, best of luck to all of our Tarleton and TCU students, snubbing his Texas Longhorns that he represents as well. And I know he heard from them as well. Congressman Williams, would you please come forward to make comments, and would all of you please help us welcome a great friend of this university, Roger Williams.
I don't know if I should say thanks to that great introduction, but thanks to the introduction, Doctor. Appreciate it. First of all, you heard the doctor say that I went to TCU, and that the band here at this great institution is bigger than the TCU band. Well, I was thinking about that, and I figured one of the reasons is because we're trying to find a quarterback right now. So. But anyway, and also you heard the doctor mention that I was a former Major League Baseball player. And when people do that, a lot of people get impressed by that. So since you did it, I got to clear the air up, if it's okay, Doctor. I did play at TCU, and I did play for the Atlanta Braves. I got drafted out of TCU in 1971, and in 1972 I signed my first Major League contract for $12,000 a year. Now I look at some of the guys out there; they know that was a lot of money back then, wasn't it? So anyway. The fellow that signed me just passed away several years ago, a fellow named Bobby Bragan. And I, like a lot of other people that watch sports today, I said to Mr. Bragan, when I was speaking on his behalf just about 3 years ago, I said, Mr. Bragan, I want to ask you a question that all of us guys that played in the 50s, 60s, and 70s ask ourselves. And that question is, Mr. Bragan, you know how I played. If I was playing today, what would I make? Because the game is totally different. And so I said that to Mr. Bragan. He said, well, it's a hard question to answer. He said, you could do some things. He said, you could run, you could hit, you could throw, you could do a few things, but the game is totally different. Totally different than when you played. But knowing how you played in this environment, as different as it is, he said, I think you would make $12,000. So thank you for that introduction. And also I want to say too, which has already been said, what a great band we do have here at Tarleton. And I'm going to tell you, they play the Star Spangled Banner like it's supposed to be played, it's supposed to be heard. And I want to thank them for that. So I'm going to ask you all a question real quick. Do you agree with me that America is the greatest country in the world? I do. And I believe Texas is the greatest state in America. And I believe Tarleton State just might be one of the best schools in America. So I would just say if America is the greatest country in the world and Texas the greatest state in America, then Texas must be the best place in the world to live, to grow up and raise a family, and Tarleton State must be one of the best schools in the world to get an education and move your career forward. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to say, too, that I know we got a lot of teachers here, and my degree out of TCU was an education degree. I wanted to be a teacher, and I taught for several years, and things didn't work out for me that way. But I tell people that I believe in this world today that the hardest jobs in America are several things. Number one, I think the hardest job in America is being a soldier, being a fireman, being a policeman, being a parent, and being a teacher. And for that, I want to say thank all of you for what you're doing. You're making a difference. So thank you for having me here, and I'll be brief today. It's really an honor to represent all of you in the United States Congress. It's an honor to be in the United States Congress. I've had a chance to go through the campus today. I've seen some great programs which come to mind. I want to thank you for what you're doing for our veterans with your VA office. That is fabulous. If there was ever a time to tell our veterans and our soldiers alike that we love you and we appreciate you, it is today. And thank you for what you're doing for 500 that are going to be coming on campus. They're already here to further their education. And when you hear about the nursing program, you hear about engineering, what a great opportunities we've got for everybody to continue to move this great school forward. And I do want to thank Doctor for your leadership and your tremendous work for students, our community in the state of Texas. You know, by growing and expanding with several campuses around the state like you've done, you're able to invest tenfold into the next generation of business owners, teachers, doctors, scientists, ranchers, and I think most important, patriots. You know, what you do for our kids and our neighbors and even folks looking to further their education later in life simply is immeasurable. Education is the key to America's success, but college is expensive, and we all know that, and that can be a serious problem for a lot of people. Now, grants and scholarships can be hard to navigate, and sitting in the classroom is time-consuming sometimes, especially for students who work full-time or have a family to provide for. But the importance and value of continuing education has never been more important than it is in today's job market and economy. Because you see, our children, when I was in school, I competed against my friend next door, or my friend down the street, or maybe at the other school in the community. But today, all of you, all the kids on campus across the country, and even here, you're competing worldwide. You're competing against somebody in China. You're competing against somebody in India. And we've got to get it right, and it's not just your neighbors and your fellow students. And in our current knowledge-based economy, higher education is essential, and I truly believe that opportunity in America begins in the classroom. Our country needs great scholars more than ever, and this university is delivering on that promise. And I want to give you a brief update on some things I've been working on in Washington. Yes, we do work in Washington, to help you and your students continue to succeed. In the last few months, my colleagues in the House of Representatives and I have worked on several bills to address the affordability and accessibility to higher education for all Americans. We passed the Strengthening Transparency in Higher Education Act, which would consolidate all the information people need when considering their education options. This includes institution prices, the types of degrees available, pass-fail rates, student ratios, scholarship, and grant availability. Now, this bill would simply streamline existing transparency efforts at the federal level to reduce confusion for students and require better coordination by federal agencies to avoid duplication. I've talked to many students, and they say they are the first in their family to attend college, and they said they need all the help they can get to navigate these options. Another bill the House passed is the Empowering Students Through Enhanced Financial Consulting Act. This would strengthen financial counseling requirements for students receiving federal aid. With the rising cost of tuition, a majority of students rely on student loans to finance their education, and the numbers are high. 90% of student loans are held by the federal government, totaling over $1 trillion, affecting more than 7 million Americans. Now, this bill, which passed by the vote of 405 to 11, isn't that amazing? Think about that. We got something through the House at 405 through 11, and even has the President and Senate support, would help students get the information they need to make responsible decisions about how to pay for their college education. And lastly, the House unanimously passed the Advancing Competency-Based Education Demonstration Program Act. See, we've got people in Congress that think of these titles. See? Now, which is good for students and teachers alike. This bill would allow institutions the flexibility to provide a degree that is based on a student's knowledge and a student's skills instead of seat time. Ever-increasing government regulations have created a system that places more value on credit hours than years of actual learning and experience. This is especially helpful for many veterans and non-traditional students enrolled in secondary education programs who may have full-time jobs, families, or other commitments that make it difficult to achieve a degree. So competency-based education can loosen the rigid structures on enrollment financial aid and can help speed up the completion of a degree, making it more affordable for students who need flexibility. So these are just some of the ways that I hope and I am working for you on Capitol Hill. I always encourage your feedback and want to hear your ideas and solutions. And I go back to what my mama told me. She said, son, remember this. God gave you 2 ears, He gave you 2 eyes, and He gave you 1 mouth. So you need to listen. And so there's something that always bothered me in Texas. And if it's happening in Texas, we know it's happening across America. But many of you know this, but there's 100,000 kids dropping out of the 9th grade every single year in Texas. Dropping out because they see no hope. We've got to change that. We've got to tell them as parents, teachers, and business people and moms and dads to remind them that the American dream lives here. It still lives, and it lives in Texas. And it lives for those who get a good education. And we can provide that right here at this university, and we do provide it at this university. That's an area that we need to turn around and we need to take responsibility for. So in closing, let me just say this, a few things I learned in life. My windshield is always bigger than my rearview mirror. And you can't finish the race unless you start the race. And in baseball, we always said you can't go to the Hall of Fame hitting ground balls. And I was told by a young person the other day, a young person, me in the 9th grade, he said, he said, we will make tough decisions, Congressman, in the future. My generation will. But he says, it's your generation that must make tough decisions now. And how true that is. So I would just say the words well said are not near as powerful as the words well done. So let's go out and do it. Let's make America better. Let's keep Tarleton State University at the top of its industry. May God bless all of you here today. May God always bless Texas. May God continue to bless the greatest state in the world, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. And may God always bless the fighting Tarleton State Texans. God bless and onward and upward. Thank you.
Very well said, Mr. Congressman. Thank you so much. We appreciate your good work on behalf of our students in this university in Washington, D.C. For the remainder of the time that we've got today, I wanted to really focus on 3 things. One is to make a couple comments about some progress on our strategic plan, to talk a little bit, give you a sneak peek of our campus development plan, our 5-year campus development plan. And then we have a very special recognition that we'd like to make at the end of the ceremony here today. You know, it was about a year ago, maybe a little bit more, that we shared with you the 2015 to the 2020 strategic plan for the university. And it was months in the making with a lot of input from across the campus. There were a lot of people that participated in its development. And I think by now you all know that it has 4 important goals. One is academic innovation. The second one, student transformation. Third, distinctive engagement. And 4th, exemplary service. And you know, I will tell you this, one of the reasons I believe we are moving ever closer to the vision of being the premier student-focused university in Texas and beyond is that we have a strategic plan that is really being used day by day to make important choices and to drive our activities. That is significant because there are many places that those strategic plans end up sitting on a shelf. And a lot of things have been accomplished across this university with that strategic plan as a guide. And let me go through each of those goals and give you a quick glimpse of just one or two examples of those. Our focus on the goal of academic innovation is about creating a relevant mix of programs that meet the needs of our students, the state, and the nation. And an example of how we're doing that is just here in the last couple of weeks, we announced the new School of Criminology, Criminal Justice, and Strategic Studies, led by a new executive director, a new person here at Tarleton, a faculty member, Alex Del Carmen, and that proposal has now been submitted to the Board of Regents. Colton will appreciate your help on that. And then another one is our electrical and engineering programs. We've been trying to do this for some number of years. That has already been approved by our board, and we just found out this week, importantly, that it's now on the agenda for the Higher Education Coordinating Board here in September. If we get that next step, civil and electrical engineering, that will be a huge step for us for our vision related to STEM fields. For our goal of student transformation, the use of Legends Hall back here and the completion of Heritage Hall allowed us to do something very significant. We put 750 students, that's about a 160% increase, into living and learning environments. And the reason why that's so important for transforming students' lives is because we know there's probably not much else that we can do beyond what we've already done and to get more students into those programs to affect their retention and their graduation rates. Another good example of student transformation is Jennifer Edwards and Diana Martinez. They've created what's called the AHA program, Academic High Achievers Program, and it connects some of those very students the Congressman was talking about, 550 at-risk students, those that usually have high financial need, maybe have some academic deficiencies, connects them with success coaches in their freshman year so that they're better prepared to be successful at Tarleton and then to face that global world that we all live in now. For our goal of distinctive engagement, we're committed, I think you all know, to strengthening partnerships with our community, with the P-12 system, and certainly with our community colleges. And so we've done a couple of things in this area that I think are significant. This past Tarleton Roundup, our big service project to the community, we had over 1,000 volunteers go out into this community and make a difference in the lives of individuals. That is a big number for us. I think it's just about double what we've done in the past. We've also partnered with Tarrant County Community College, one of our what we call top partners, to deliver undergraduate courses to their early high-achieving high school students. So they're taking our upper-level courses as juniors and seniors in high school. And one of the great things that we've done, I think, is the College of Liberal and Fine Arts public radio station, KTRL, has partnered with the Department of Athletics, and the voice of Tarleton is holding up the ball over here, Casey Hogan, and they've partnered to create the new Tarleton Sports Network, and we think that is going to have a major impact because of the breadth and scope of both and the quality of our athletic program and how broadly that radio station broadcasts. And then finally, you know, the growing culture here around our goal of exemplary service, as I said earlier, is a very big reason, I think, that so many applicants choose to end up coming to this university. If they see us serving them well, and they see the family atmosphere here, they make choices. An example of how it is that we've witnessed service this year. We had, and listen to this number, over 2,600 students, faculty, staff, and community volunteers show up to help move in new freshmen into their residence halls. 2,600 people. Is that a remarkable number? I just find that stunning that if you saw the number of orange shirts, if you were out there, it was just amazing to see the enthusiasm of those people and how much stuff they moved into those residence halls in the course of a weekend. One of the other great service activities that I just witnessed this week, we have a new shuttle service running, and we've got just about 700 new parking spots on the other side of Washington Street, and that shuttle service ran about 900 students on Monday and Tuesday, both across the street and out to the Grove and to Mustang Ranch. Our police officers, our student life folks were out there early Monday morning, early Tuesday morning, handing out water and trying to give away donuts to all those students that braved that new shuttle service. That's an example of exemplary service. And I couldn't let this moment pass without mentioning, too, what is just starting, our Pass the Hat campaign. For those of you that are new, it's the state employee campaign, kind of the united way for state institutions. And Mike Haynes and his team have a couple of activities coming up, that a chili cook-off, I think, and Anthony Purcell is doing a fundraiser with his wind ensemble. Those are important contributions that this university makes, providing service out to others. And I encourage you, when they do indeed pass the hat, drop something in, because it will make a difference in the life of others and show that we take that service value as a very important part of who we are. It's exciting that there are so many, I think there are so many units across this university that they've embraced that vision that I've talked about, and they've been energized by those 4 strategic goals. And so because of our continued focus on those 4 goals, I think we're off to a great start, and it's indeed going to be a very great year as we continue on our quest to be the premier student-focused university in Texas and beyond. One of the things that we're going to do, I'm going to shift gears on you here now. That's just a quick summary of some of what we've been doing on the strategic plan. One of the things we're doing to try to achieve that vision is we're revising a 2020 master plan that was put in place several years ago with what is called a 5-year campus development plan. And what I want to do is just give you a sneak peek at what that looks like. And what we've done is we've consulted with a group called the Broadest Planning Group. They've held meetings back in the spring. They had public forums, and then a steering committee of campus folks had been meeting with them. And I want to show you what it is that they're starting to talk about, because this is going to affect all of you from a facility standpoint. First thing I want you to know, because this is always very important, I've been talking about the strategic plan, saying we're doing some very important things on each of those 4 goals. What they did and what they started with at our insistence is that they looked at that strategic plan and they looked at strategies, objectives, measures, all those things that are in there. Some of these are the big things that we're talking about: a new College of Engineering, College of Health Professions, expanding our graduate programs. And they used those as a guide to how it is that they started to think about where we should go over the next 5 years. These are some of the important design principles. And I don't want to dwell on this because you'll have the opportunity to hear more about it. But I think it's important that you understand that we think that it is important that they make connections between the campus and the community. Many people say, well, where's your front door? Well, there probably are about 6 of them. And it's tough to have 6 front doors. So they are thinking about how it is that we provide that front door for the university. And then those next 2, I think, are kind of part and parcel of the same. There are places where it's like trying to get across the Grand Canyon to get from one part of campus to another. And a good example of that is going from Administrative Annex 2 or the Tarleton Center or someplace like that and try to get to the business building. You have to go across a parking lot, across the street, across another parking lot, across Dairy Queen, past the dumpster, and then you get to the business quad. So they're trying to figure out how we make better connections. And this is their big concept from a connection standpoint. You all recognize, I think, down here at the bottom is the S-curve. All right, so you know the S-curve, and that kind of orients you. Up here If you can see that little red dot is a football stadium. So those are kind of markers on what the campus arrangement. And what they're talking about then is a major corridor that connects all of those different pieces with those large red lines you saw there. Here are the 5 or 6 major decision points that they think we need to make, and you'll be hearing about over the next couple of weeks. One is, as we talk about a redesign of our football stadium, one of the questions is, does a track stay inside the football stadium or go outside? The second decision related to the football stadium is, do we build off of what we have with those east stands, the home stands, or do we knock them down? A third major decision point is new housing. Where do we put a new set of housing? Another one is, what do we do with Traditions Hall or Residence Hall? And then a final decision down here is related to academic buildings. If we put up a new academic building, where is it going to go? So let's begin, and I'm going to walk through each of these quickly. The major decision on track is, under one proposal, they would take the track and move it outside onto the rec sports fields. Now, some people would think that's a good idea, some people think it's a bad idea because we're taking away some of the rec sports fields. That is a decision point that we're going to have to make. If we leave it inside the stadium, it's based on an old design and does not live up to what is the current international standards for tracks. It's grandfathered in, so we can keep it, but it is an important decision point for us. This is just to show you what the track could look like with all the field events moved inside of it if it was moved outside the stadium on the north side of it. That doesn't mean this is what we're going to do, but it is something that they're going to bring back to us and make some recommendations. So you should be thinking about this. The other decision point on this is, as I said, the football stadium. How do we design a future football stadium? We know one thing that we are definitely going to do. We're going to move the home stands to the west side of the stadium. Congressman, if you don't know why they're clapping, it's because we face the sun at all our home football games. Whoever designed that was not thinking about the Texas sun at 6 o'clock in the evening. So the concept that they've come up with is they believe we should be looking at a bold stadium concept, low because of the low structures in Stephenville, but at the same time, something that allows us to be respectful of much of the other areas surrounding us. The big question on this is, what do we do with the berm on the east side of the stadium? Some people believe it should come out, some people believe it should stay. And the track decision becomes important because if we go to a bowl kind of arrangement, you probably would want to move the track outside the stadium. Second point is new housing. Rusty and his folks are already working very hard trying to decide where it is after the 2015 housing out on Fry and Lillian is constructed, what next? And the recommendation that is coming forward is to put a new set of housing, about 500 new beds, you can see it right there on the east side of the football stadium. It would also include this small sliver right there as housing, but the good news is we understand that's taking away parking, right? The good news is that gray spot right there is intended to be a parking garage that would be constructed together with the student housing. You can clap about that. So that is a concept, if you've seen marks out on the ground, that is a concept people are already thinking about designing, and it probably is a reality, actually. This is what that would look like if you think about kind of dynamics of this. One of the projects that we are thinking about is taking Vanderbilt and Lillian Street and converting them into pedestrian malls. And what we're talking about with Vanderbilt Street is calling it Rudder Way, as an acknowledgement to a very significant person, General Rudder, that has been a part of our history. So if you were standing at the stadium looking down Vanderbilt Street. This is kind of the look that you would have with new housing and a parking garage on the right, just a housing only dedicated space on the left. That's what's on the bottom. Up on the top, looking toward the stadium from Wisdom Gym, you would be looking up this pedestrian mall toward a new housing and parking garage complex. This is what they're recommending at this point in time. Another decision point is what to do with traditions. Karen Murray, your provost, Craig Clifford, who's in charge of the honors program, is interested in expanding the number of students that we can put in honors housing. Right now we have about 300 in Centennial. They'd like to get it up to 500. And so the concept is to add space to traditions and to do something like this, take the existing traditions hall and connect it together to a new space that would then have an elevator as well and make it the honors dorm. Believe it's in a terrific part of the campus because it's adjacent to performing arts, science, nursing, student center. The business complex is out the other side of it. So it really would be well positioned for those honors students. That's something that I think, Rusty, you were just in Dallas yesterday talking about the design, and this would be something that would come online in 2016 as well. And then the final real decision point on the central campus here is where to put new academic buildings. And these locations, where Bender and Ferguson Hall is right now, the halls are right now, is where they are suggesting, and possibly that parking lot adjacent to it. Again, with the idea that if you can deal with parking, and so they are suggesting if money, buildings dictate, there would be a new parking garage right there as well, adjacent to the Fine Arts Center. And so this is her concept. You can see the Grant Building poked in behind there of where new academic buildings might sit on the campus. And just to look at the Vanderbilt pedestrian mall, or what we are referencing as Railway. And then at the Ag campus, we're taking a look at that as well. I'm not going to dwell on these, but these are the primary points that they're considering for the Ag campus, because that is a significant part of who we are, and the hundreds of acres that are out there, well used, but there might be some opportunities to do some new things out there. So, they are going to be on campus. The broadest group is going to be on campus, and they're going to have a campus forum, as you can see, on Wednesday, September 10th. They're going to have a community forum on Monday, September 15th. And all of you are welcome to attend those and hear more about what they are going to end up recommending to us. We believe these are largely the concepts that we'll hear. I want you to understand the reason why we're showing this is because this campus development plan is going to help make that strategic plan that we've talked about a reality. The decisions that we make in that strategic plan are in no small measure going to help drive what this looks like. And just as you have all embraced that vision statement and that you're energized by the goals, I think you've also found, many of you have found important ways to integrate our core values into programs and activities across campus. We're seeing much more attention paid to that. And at Tarleton, one of the things that we're trying to do is put our core values right up front and center for everybody to see. In fact, that's the reason why they are on the stage here today. Our new entering freshmen, the new entering class, has been introduced to these in a variety of different ways. And in fact, last Sunday night, they signed a pledge to live up to those core values. And I think as faculty and staff, we all then are striving to model those core values and to live our lives well so that our students can indeed see how it is that they should be lived out on a day-to-day basis. Today then, with those core values as backdrop, we want to celebrate students' action who set an extraordinary example for citizens around this area of Texas. He showed core value in action in a remarkable way. His quick decision made an enormous difference in a person's life and in the life of a family. He demonstrated very powerfully the core value of service. I'd like to ask Blake Pryor, one of our students, if he would come to the stage. And Congressman Williams, would you join us for the presentation? Blake's a junior, and he's majoring in criminal justice with the intention of pursuing a career in law enforcement. In mid-July, he was returning home from work when he noticed a car parked on a bridge 100 feet above I-35, and a woman was standing on the bridge. Hundreds of people, literally hundreds of people, had driven by the scene. Some had made a point of calling the police to report that a woman was standing on the bridge. But Blake is the only person that stopped. And when he stopped, he immediately realized that this was a woman in distress, and she was intending to jump off that bridge. So what Blake did was he positioned himself between the edge of the bridge and the woman and basically talked to her about him being willing to stay there and talk to her as long as it took. And he talked long enough that the Round Rock police eventually showed up, and they were able to safely bring her off of that bridge and save her life. And for his heroic actions, Blake received the Round Rock Police Challenge Coin because he showed such courage and character, and for preventing a person from taking her life. And so today, Blake, what we want to do is we want to present you with Tarleton's Good Samaritan Award for extraordinary humanitarian service and one of our presidential core value coins. You've brought honor to yourself, to your family, and to this university, and we are very, very proud of you. Blake is from Georgetown, Texas, and he's joined today by his parents, Glenn and Denise, his grandmother, Rita, his Aunt Dixie, and his girlfriend, Addie, who's a Baylor Bear. Would you all stand, please? I want to thank again all of you for being here today. Whether you've joined us in just the last month or you've been at Tarleton for decades, know that we thank you for the remarkable difference that you make in the lives of our students. I think we're beginning the year strong, and with your help, we'll continue to encourage in our students so that we finish strong as well, and we get them to a cap and gown on graduation day. Thank you so very much. Godspeed to each of you, and go Texans.